It's time for all the latest fight action, direct from Wales in the United Kingdom, 100% live. It's Big Fight Weekly with your hosts Chris Hume and Stu Palmer.
I look into the mirror and all I see is failure staring back at me. I hope the light gets clearer, but when you got that voice inside your head saying,
good afternoon, good morning to the USA as well. This is Powerful.tv, Big Fight Weekly, with myself, Stuart Palmer, and my co-host and cousin, Chris Hume. How are we, Chris?
I'm all right, I'm all right. Just getting myself ready for, I might as well break it. I've got Joe Daddy Stevenson on later on, so I've just been prepping for that, as well as obviously trying to sort things out for today. Just trying to find little nuggets that people haven't really asked him, just to be a bit different and what have you. So, yeah, I'm excited.
It'll be very good. Obviously, Joe Stevenson was prevalent in The Ultimate Fighter in the early days. The Ultimate Fighter had a fantastic career in the UFC, and I know he's still doing a lot in MMA, isn't he, Chris? But yeah, we look forward to that. You're going to drop that maybe in the next few days or so, aren't you?
Yeah, I'd imagine so, yeah.
So we look forward to that. But Chris, episode 57, and we've got to start with the stellar KO of Dillian Whyte from Mr. Tyson Fury. As you can see there, reigns supreme over Whyte, but has he truly retired? That is the first question. He's gone on Piers Morgan's new talk show last night in the UK, and he seems to be veering towards that he is retired. But then, as Piers Morgan said, his wife Paris kind of looked at him when he said he was retiring. I don't believe it. I don't believe it, because I think he'll want to unify. And he'll want the puzzle that is Usyk, I think, because as we've said in episodes previous to this, we do feel that Usyk will win the rematch against Joshua. But how do you feel about it? Obviously, we'll get into the fight in a minute, but it's more prevalent at the moment that he said he is retired. What do you feel? How do you feel with his mindset off the back of it?
I think him looking at things at the moment, he is retired, isn't he? There's only Usyk and Joshua left to sort of have the fight with, and obviously they're fighting at some point. I think it's like prevalence of having that. I've done everything I can walk away, but leaving the door slightly ajar. Just like more or less say, as you say in your wrestling terms, is never say never, isn't it? And I think you throw enough money at the guy. I know he says he doesn't need the money, but, he did mention fighting Francis Ngannou for the Floyd Mayweather money. So there's got to be some sort of, money interests, in regards of having to fight Usyk or Joshua or I say Francis Ngannou. I'd like to think he'd have one more fight. It's prevalent that he would fight Usyk or Joshua because we need to see that fight happen between him and one of them two. And then I think, he can walk away after that, because, he's either got all the belts or, it's got to happen. But at the same time he's done so much, such quick fashion, winning the title from Klitschko, having all, the mental health issues, coming back and doing what he's done with Deontay Wilder. He's a guy that you look up to and respect. And, I wouldn't knock him if he wanted to retire. He can go on to different things. He's also, a personality, isn't he? So TV, wrestling, MMA, if he wanted to. There's many avenues for Tyson Fury to go down if he did want to legit retire.
I just think to myself, I just feel knowing him and the hunger, and he wants to take on everyone, every style. Usyk, we know, is a complete boxer. Now, again, I think there's not enough made about Fury's footwork. You could see it again the other night. I know it was the jab. I know he was behind the jab a lot and the reach. But it's that footwork. But yeah, going back to Usyk, I just feel it's a puzzle in itself. But I still think that the reach, Usyk is shorter than Whyte by an inch in height again. I think it's going to be problematic for Usyk. But it still begs the question if he can get inside. And he can land. That is the question. But I just can't see. Usyk beating Fury. What do you feel?
I think it'd be a tough fight because, as you say, I think Fury and Usyk are, out of the whole of the cruiser heavyweight sort of side of things, they are pure boxers, aren't they? They're tactical and their head movement, their movement, and the speed is when they're throwing the strikes just second to none, and more elite than everybody else in on both sides of those divisions. It's as you say, it's a puzzle, and it's intriguing because we've seen Usyk, what he's done to Joshua, but then we've seen Fury, what he's done with people like, say, Wilder, who's not technically a boxer more than a power puncher, but he leaned on him, didn't he, and used his weight, and he didn't see Joshua do enough of that against Usyk, where I think Fury could do that with Usyk, is press him up into a corner and sort of bully him, but put that weight on him and make him carry that weight. I think there's things like that you can see Fury do, but I think I'd love to see the fight, but it's all down to, if and buts at the moment, isn't it?
Again, we're writing Joshua off. I just can't see it. I know Dan Layla's watching us. He trains boxing. I've seen that he's in there with us. So, Dan,
some oldies are back here.
Mark Lloyd, it's been a long time, pal. It's been a long time. Tyson surely shouldn't retire yet. Mark, I'm with you. He's got to get undisputed. He's got to get all the belts. His legacy. He's only the second heavyweight in history to be undefeated. You're going into retirement, as you say now, in activity. But yeah, and also Dan Terra Sporting. Do you think if Fury does retire, Wilder will come back and dominate the division? I don't think he's good enough. I I just no, not with Usyk in there.
I think Usyk outboxed him.
And Joshua, he could.
No,
Chris isn't.
No. It's not knock on Joshua. I just think it's a case of it's the jaw that worries me. When he has been clipped, and I know he's powerful as well. But if you look at it quickly now, who's the heavier puncher, Joshua, Wilder? You're going to say Wilder?
No, all day long. As we've said time and time again, Fury said he's been against the biggest puncher. He's always said about Wilder being the biggest puncher. So I take that, Chris. I do. I take what you're saying with that. More comments, please. More comments on this because it was amazing. 94,000 in there. I know they've been knocking Carl Froch at every chance they can get. I was listening to Steve Bunce's podcast. So you did 80,000. And I know Tony Bellew, they've all been saying, 80,000 was a fantastic number.
Yeah, still a big number.
George Groves, amazing. But to do 94,000, amazing, fantastically done. By the venue itself, as a whole now, as a spectacle, it's incredible, isn't it, Chris? What they've managed to do there.
It reminds me a lot of. I'm obviously going to use again to wrestling terms, but like a WrestleMania, isn't it? The sheer amount of people sitting in a stadium, it's amazing. I know UFC did it in the Emirates in Australia, and that was amazing. I just wish obviously we could get more of that in UFC. Could do something like that in Wembley Stadium, but it was. You get the better feel, don't you, when there's thousands upon thousands of people there. I think, and it brings the best out of people. I loved it, mate. That's something again. I wish I sat there and watched.
And let's not not talk about Dillian Whyte in the same breath. He's not going to be finished. He was saying he was pushed and all this. I hate when this happens, and crazy, isn't it? Afterwards, at the end of the day, he was beaten. He was a beaten man. He was not in his right mind, was he, when he got up as well? He was all over the place. There was no way. No. But do you know what? He's been fantastic. He's just hit a level. He's took on the best of the best, hasn't he? Chris, am I going to read this comment first? Do you want me to read this?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Dan Terra Sporting, again, he was smashing him up before Fury, though. I think only Fury could stop Wilder's damage. Wilder would smash AJ and Usyk. I don't believe. I think Usyk would be problematic for him. Finding angles.
Yeah, I think that. But then we haven't seen Usyk technically tested with power yet either, have we? So it's.
I'll never dismiss someone's opinion. Absolutely, I get that. Looking at it from both sides, it's just I just think Usyk will probably, in my opinion, will reign supreme once Fury goes in that division, and unless somebody comes through, unless somebody young comes through in the next couple of years, maybe I don't see the likes of a Joe Joyce or a Daniel Dubois, though, domestically for us doing that, getting to that caliber. No, not a knock on them. They're great boxers. Lewis Young, hi all. Lewis, how did you find it on Saturday evening?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it, to say, really?
There's fights for White. Why not Wilder or somebody?
I'd like to see that. I think that The styles work. The styles between
Yeah.
each other. I think it's a good fight between them, and I think
It-
you could do a mandatory between them two, couldn't you?
the reach we knew beforehand, didn't we, Chris? He was on 78-inch reach to Fury's 85, and you know yourself in the UFC when you've got a gargantuan reach. I know it doesn't always work. I know it's not just fists, and they use other facets of the game, the MMA game, to get inside, don't they, and do what they need to do. But it's such a big differential, isn't it, in boxing terms, to 7-inch.
I think it's the footwork of Dillian Whyte's slow, isn't it? His footwork doesn't match the speed of him throwing his punches, and you saw that in a few sort of times where he threw a haymaker at Fury, but it was so wild. It's like he was fast at the top part, but his feet just don't go with the pace. Is when he's throwing, from his shoulder, it's just very slow with his feet. But it's just one of them for him. This is a learning curve. As Don McGuire would tell me, it's a lesson. And it's a lesson for him.
That's wise words from Mr. McGuire as well. Absolutely. So we take that on board. Absolutely. That was some KO from Fury. Yeah, it was. And with 15 seconds to go, Chris, my bet came in.
Yeah, actually. Let me pull that one up for you, mate.
It was Saturday afternoon. I'll just paint the picture, right? So I'm going through my phone, and we were talking in work. I was like, you know what? I'm going to put one on. And I was thinking about it, milling it over. And as you can see there, the odds changed. Sky put a boost on it late in the afternoon on Saturday. And I was like, you know what? I had £10 in it first, thinking 55 quid. That's not enough of a return. Sod it, 20. I'm on the edge of the bed, right? Literally, I'm thinking it's gone. It's gone. He's got to do it now. If he doesn't do it now, it's gone. I'm jumping around, literally. Karras is wondering what the hell's going on. I've just won, so I didn't get a bollocking because I've won some money.
Yeah. Well, I bet you were thanking Fury a lot.
I know someone locally to us around here. He put 20, but he had round 6. He put 20 quid down. He got 330 quid. So he got 3 times as much as I did. So yeah,
nice though. Nice.
Is there anything to add, Chris? I think, the way he talks, Fury, I know he's done a lot of his money's gone to charity and stuff like that. And as he says, I still drive an 07 Passat. It's not about the money, but I'll tell you what, he has got some coin in that bank, hasn't he? But he's not governed by the money, is he?
No, and he gives a lot to charity after his matches, his fights, doesn't he? So, listen, he does what he wants to do. And don't forget, everything now is in Fury's court. He does what he wants. People have to come to him now. It's not him. If Usyk beats Joshua, yes, Usyk got all the belts, but the draw is Fury, isn't it? So the ball's always going to be in Fury's court here. So it's up to him what he wants to do with it. But, before we move on, it was a fantastic uppercut. The push was a bit dramatic, but, Dillian Whyte was finished as soon as he got up. He was on chicken legs and he was doing a chicken dance. With the referee had to hold him up. So
don't forget, he put a cheap one round at Tyson earlier on in the fight as well. Tyson wasn't happy about it either because he told him, didn't he?
It was the elbow as well, yeah,
and the one in the corner as well. But they both threw, didn't they? After the bell, the ref, I wouldn't want to be in the sandwich in there between them two. That ref was brave, wasn't he? Because there was fists in the corner as the bell's gone, but. They've got a lot of history predated to the fight. They did a lot of sparring. They're friends. You could tell that in the build up. As much as White wasn't at the presses until late on, was he? Leading up to the fight.
Yeah, mind games. He didn't want to fall into Fury's trap, and it was a well played situation for White for not turning up until very late on. Made a lot of sense, and you can see why he did it.
Fantastic evening. Some people are moaning about the fight. It's just a typical Fury. The way he can stop you in the tracks, it's effective. It works for him. I think Classic is boring. I still found it engaging, Chris.
I suppose what I think it is. Certain fighters bring the best out of fighters, don't they? And we see it in all combat sports. Certain people, when they're together, just make fireworks, don't they? And some fighters, when they're put together, aren't the same sort of firework level, are they? I think people they're looking at Fury and Wilder thinking Dillian Whyte's a bit like Wilder, so it could be very similar, but it was never going to be any similar because Dillian Whyte didn't possess that one-punch knockout. I know he does have one-punch knockout, but he doesn't have serious Wilder one-punch knockout. So I think people sort of looked to that fight and thought, well, this is going to be the same. It wasn't. It was just Fury being as good as he was. He used his reach, used his footwork, used his angles, used his jab, and then finished with the uppercut. And then, that's all she wrote.
Absolutely fantastic. We will look to see in the coming months what is going to happen with Fury. Obviously, we're waiting on AJ and Usyk. Are we moving on, Chris?
We are.
Onto topic number 2. And yes, Katie Taylor, obviously undisputed at lightweight, but Amanda Serrano, Chris, a 7-weight world champion in her own right. We've been waiting for this one for a long, long time. Katie Taylor has said this is the one she's been waiting to do since she's turned pro, obviously from the amateurs, from the Olympics. But yeah, Amanda Serrano, Chris, she's had 40 plus fights. She's done MMA as well. And she's had a foray in MMA as well. But yeah, I just feel it's Katie Taylor's to lose again, even though Amanda Serrano has had about 13, 14, maybe 15 more fights than Katie Taylor, who's on 26. It's Katie Taylor's to lose, in my opinion. I know Amanda Serrano's got a lot of experience, but yeah, this is the biggest women's fight in history. I know we've got Savannah Marshall and Carissa Shields coming up, but this also had the biggest pre-sales at Madison Square Garden, and it's not a men's fight, it's a women's fight.
Yes, that's brilliant. And that's brilliant.
And I noticed Jake Paul was getting a lot of shit there from the Empire State the other day. What he was wearing, that brown,
looked like shit.
Whatever he was wearing, he was getting a lot. He was getting a lot of backlash online. But yeah, back to the fight, because that's the focal point. How do you feel with this one? Because Katie Taylor, she's had some tough ones leading into this. I mean, Pursoon, she's a police officer by day. You know what I mean? This is a different level. This is fully fledged veteran of boxing. But yeah, your thoughts?
It's hard because I've only seen Serrano in the first Jake Paul Tyron Woodley card when she was on that, and she looked really, really good. And obviously I saw her sort of fight record, but I don't know who she's fought. I've seen Katie Taylor fight, and we've covered a lot of Katie Taylor fights, since we started Big Fight Weekly. So I've got to know Katie Taylor and analyze her fights. She's been up against, I think, far better opposition or competition, if you want to put it that way, than Amanda Serrano. I just haven't seen enough of Serrano to really give you an opinion on if I think she could win. I'd seen a lot of Katie Taylor, and I don't want to sound too biased, but I've seen more of her for me to lean towards Katie Taylor, in this fight. But I could be completely wrong, and Amanda Serrano could turn up and light her up. You just don't know. Or she'll call in Jake Paul to do it for her. Who knows? I'd probably go Katie Taylor because I've seen more of her, and I think I'm probably being a bit safety blanket there with that one.
I think people, because she's not had as many KOs in her career, Katie Taylor, a lot of people are looking past. She has got power. The girl's got power in those hands, Obviously, people look at her record, don't they? Oh, she's not had that many KOs, and it's far from it with her. I think you're going to know about it when she lands. That's simple as that. But another one, a well-skilled boxer, fantastic amateur. She was touted for years that she was going to come into the pro game. And I know, like you say, who was Serrano really fought? When you look through Katie Taylor's resume, last fights, it's probably more prevalent ladies that she's come up against. So. And it serves you, doesn't it, better, Chris? Regardless if you've had, 16, 17, 18 more fights than her.
You need tests in your combat career, don't you? You can't just go there and fight tin cans, because you'll never know your level of your ceiling. I know you've got to start with tin cans, and that's how they do it in boxing. But I can't really sit there and look at Amanda Serrano's record and go, I know who that is. At least with Katie Taylor, I've got more of an incline who she's fought, and obviously the fights we've covered as well on here. I just got to go with the safety of Katie Taylor. And it's not because I know we pick a lot of Brits when we come to do both UFC and boxing. But yeah, I think Katie Taylor, and just to shut Jake Paul up as well, that would be fantastic. Level him as well.
Do you know what though? He speaks in the promoting sense. I kind of like get him, as I've said before, than in the fighting sense. The guy's lashed onto the promoting now.
He's smart with it. Yeah,
there's money to be made. But yeah, it's just backlash. They stood on the Empire State doing all like the build-up stuff and that, and they did ask Eddie Hearn to get out the way as well. He heard the cameraman, when they were both on there on that visual. Eddie, can you just come out the way? And someone said, he's always in the bloody way. But tell Jake Paul to get out the way as well. In the same token, that's what was running through my mind.
Yeah, but I mean, I was watching something today, and he was calling out Bisping and Masvidal, and then he calls all the UFC champions pussies, and he'll fuck them up basically. Listen, it's all this when you can get them in a ring. If you're a big man, come get it into a cage, and then we'll see if you're as big as your mouth is. I'm not a fan of UFC fighters going into boxing, when they can still fight in MMA. So if he wants to fight any of these guys, come to MMA, and we'll see how big your chops are then.
Going back to Saturday's, Tommy Fury got 6 rounds in.
I did see, yeah.
To be fair, the lad he fought, the Polish lad, only lost 1. It wasn't like, a heavy defeat record to, not many wins. So I think he was on 11 fights. The other guy had 10 fights with 1 defeat. And he got the 6 rounds in, and he put him down twice as well. Could have finished it. I think it was a good 6 rounds. Do you see that? Just because we're obviously on the topic of Jake Paul, will they get that made, or is that pass? Is that ship sailed because it's been twice it was called off?
I think you've got to look at it as, can he get a UFC fighter? If he can't get a UFC fighter, I think Tommy Fury is the easy route for Jake Paul. I think that makes a lot more sense. It depends. I don't want to see Bisping get in the ring. The guy's got one eye. He's got, he's had knee surgery. I don't want to see it. He's 43 years old. He's had his time and he's doing great as a commentator. You don't need to see it.
He looked good on the. He looks good on the pads in his garage in his gym at his house. He puts his clips up. He's keeping himself sharp, isn't he? But yeah, in terms of going in back in,
doesn't need to do it.
No, I'm not. No, it's just crazy, isn't it? But he will call out anybody with name value only. If he thinks, I'll call Bisping out today, who's he going to call out tomorrow? That's what you're waiting for with Jake Paul.
Well, Francis Ngannou needs a leg up, doesn't he, before he fights Fury. So if Jake Paul feels like he's a big man, why don't we do Ngannou versus Jake Paul in an exhibition boxing match? Just so, see what we can do then.
He'll either be on live support or he'll be eating through a straw for the rest of his days after that one. But yeah, that'll be the end of that. But yeah, we cannot wait for that early hours for us here in the UK Sunday morning from MSG. Katie Taylor defends all the belts, undisputed at lightweight, as we know, but Amanda Serrano, 7-weight world champion. But as Chris has alluded to, you look through the record, who has she really fought, along the way. So yeah, we're going with Katie Taylor, me and Chris, and I'm sure a lot of other people are. But what are your thoughts, the listeners, the viewers, whatever you're doing? Just let us know what you think, how that fight will go. But huge pre-sales, massive for that. The biggest pre-sales ever for an MFG event, which is
fun. Yeah, fantastic.
Amazing and fantastic for women's boxing, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, 100%.
Are we moving on?
We are. So the Hitman.
Wait, he's back. It's in an exhibition bout. It is Ricky Hatton, the man, the legend, was known for that Mexican hard-hitting style. He adopted that, didn't he, for many years? But he's coming up against the Mexican icon. It's Marco Antonio Barrera, who boxed for so many years, so well known. But yeah, Chris, what did you think about this news? And there's some people on the undercard that we know very well, which I didn't know about until you told me.
Well, it was actually Rich who sent me a message on, I think it was on the weekend, and it's saying about Ricky Hatton was coming back. So, I don't know. Listen, it's getting a bit silly, isn't it? We've got celebrities boxing, then we've got retired boxers coming back, and I don't want the whole Evander Holyfield situation happening, with Vitor Belfort, and you ruin your legacy, tarnish it a bit, don't you? If you're made to look stupid in these sort of things, does Ricky need the money? I don't understand what's the prevalence of him coming back for an exhibition boxing match. I know. Good luck to him, but I just don't understand what the reason is for it.
See, he's been training people for so many years now. It's been a decade, hasn't it, since he had the last fight. He got stopped as well. I know exhibition, it's not as maybe not be as intense, but yeah, it just seems daft really. But he's just got that bug. He's got that bug. He's a fighter his whole life. So I kind of look at it from that stance, but then at the same time, he's been doing fantastic with his own, promoting, bringing fighters through. Obviously, his son Campbell, who's very early on in his career. It's a tough one, isn't it? But yeah, Barrera, as we know, he kind of derailed Naz all them years ago. Naz did go on to have one fight after that, but everyone remembers the destruction from Antonio Barrera. Obviously, It won't be full tilt, will it? As it's an
No,
exhibition,
no.
But I'm just trying to draw some parallels here. But yeah, it just seems a bit daft to me. But Ricky Hatton's Ricky Hatton, isn't he? He's a man's man, heart on his sleeve.
Oh yeah. Listen, Ricky Hatton do what he wants, and who am I to judge Ricky Hatton? I just don't know, and I don't understand. Is it a quick money grab, or is it just because how things are going at the moment in boxing that you can come out of retirement and get an exhibition fight? I suppose Mike Tyson and Ray Jones Jr. are the ones that started the whole sort of snowball of this, haven't they? I don't know, Stuart. I don't know if it's for me. I'm interested in Dan Hardy versus Diego Sanchez in a boxing match, though.
Now that could be amazing. That could be amazing. Coming out of the MMA code and going into that, and they were known for their striking, weren't they?
Yeah.
That'd be. It will sell. It will sell.
No, of course it will sell.
There's no question of that. But you just don't want to see someone get hurt because you've still got that. They're almost. I don't want to lessen it and say it's sparring in the ring in an exhibition, but it is still very dangerous, isn't it?
Well, that's my worry. It's like you don't want to be taking any more shots to the head at the age that Ricky Hatton and Vera are at. I just don't know, Stuart. I'll watch it obviously, and I think obviously we'll talk about it a bit more when we get a bit closer and the aftermath's happened. I think I haven't really got much more to say on it, if I'm honest with you.
That's fine. Are we going to switch? Are we switching codes? Are we going?
Yeah,
yes, we are. We sure are. As Vera and Font is this Saturday. Obviously, early hours again for us, isn't it, Chris? From the Apex in
as
Vegas.
always, yeah.
Yes, but 6th versus 7th, Chris. Someone had reported Vera's at 10th. He's not, Chris. The 6th and 7th. I've looked at the rankings, the bantamweight rankings.
Yeah, so but with these things when you read them, like what was it the other month we had Aspinall a bit taller than Thingy Bob at London, didn't we? So
do your due diligence. I mean, I'm not a writer. I don't pretend to be a writer. But get it right. Get your information right. But they're both on 2-1 in that last 3, aren't they? Frankie Edgar and Vera was the last fight, wasn't it, for Vera? I'm right in thinking.
Yeah, for Vera kicked Edgar out, didn't he? And Vera's looked really good. He had a fantastic fight against Davey Grant, the second fight they had against each other, and it was really, really good fight between them both. And he just edged out Dave. Well, they didn't edge out. Sorry, I'm thinking of Davey Grant's fight after that. He obliterated sort of Davey Grant's sort of standard. But Rob Font's been in there with Jose Aldo recently, and he only lost the decision, Stuart. He beat Cody Garbrandt before that, and the now recently retired Marlon Moraes. Obviously, I'm sure you've heard of Marlon Moraes is retired now.
Of course I have, yeah.
But then, and he's beat Sergio Pettis, who's the bantamweight champion in Bellator, So, he's been in with some good fighters, this Rob Font. He's not a fighter that I think people should look past. But I think Marlon Vera has just been on a collision course, to get up the rankings at bantamweight. And,
18 fights in the UFC. Vera, a lot of fights. Font, I think 13 or 14. I was just looking through, the records and stuff. So they've had a lot of fights under the UFC umbrella, haven't they, Chris?
Well, they're both
actually
just looking at both of their records now. They're both more or less recently, and about a year between each other, both lost a decision to Jose Aldo. Just showed you how prevalent Jose Aldo still is in MMA. But David Grant and Frankie Edgar, as his last 2 fights for Marlon Vera, a good, and it's a good little stepping stone. Frankie Edgar's been and done it. Stuart, been a champion. He's fought the who's who. It's coming to that age now. I think Frankie Edgar probably is starting to sort of, his light's dimming a bit, but he's still a legend in the sport. I feel like this is the next 2 maybe who can crawl up that ranking and maybe get themselves in a contender fight, Stuart. We've still got the Dominic Cruzes around, haven't we? TJ Dillashaw's, obviously Aljo's going to have to defend his titles at some point, isn't he? So there's a lot of tangibles going on in that division now. It's opened up now. We've got Peter Yan and Sterling have sort of closed their arc off for now. Not completely, but for now.
Let's give somebody else a chance further down the line now. Yeah, I think that's great. It freshens it up. We've got Dominic Cruz in there as well, Chris. I know you're, still high. You think very highly of Dominic Cruz. You look through that division. There's fights to be made, isn't there? There's fights we haven't had yet within that, the higher echelon of the ranking. So, yeah, that's what you want. You want to whet the appetite of the fans, and bantamweight's got it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has in abundance. I'd still, Stuart, and I'll keep saying this. I would love to see Aldo versus Dominic Cruz. Why they're both on a run, I just want to see that.
Why has that not come into the forefront of the minds of the bookers, of Dana White? Why they're not?
Maybe it has, because the fights no fights for them have been announced, so far this year. So
it's not like the UFC, that is it, because the fights get made, don't they? A lot of the time the fans, the fights that the fans want do get made. You can't say that away from the UFC, but hopefully that can be made. But yeah, what's your pick? What's your pick for this one for the main event?
It's a very difficult. That's a difficult one because I like Rob Font. Rob Font's been in there, and I thought the who's who. Marlon Vera, also, but Marlon Vera's got the current confidence because he's been steamrolling people. And obviously Font's coming off a loss against Aldo, which obviously, as I said, Vera fought the year before and lost at Aldo. I think this is going to go to decision, and I think it's going to be who takes the center of the octagon and controls that a bit more. Because Rob Font and Marlon Vera are very good with the striking aspect of things, both obviously very good on the ground as well. I don't think we're going to see much of the ground game in this fight. I think these two are going to go toe to toe. I said toe to hoe then. Toe to toe. I feel like it could be that Font pinches this just through experience because he's been in there and more recently. But like I say, Vera's still got the confidence because he's just knocked out Frankie Edgar. I like both guys, Stuart. I'm not like leaning either way, really.
It's fine. Hey, you're allowed to feel like that, mate. That's fine. That's good though. That leaves it's very much open, isn't it, to both fighters on the night up. So yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Anything else on the card?
We've got on Andre
taking your fancy.
Andre Arlovski's back, Stuart. He's facing Jack Collier. Andre Arlovski, Stuart, been on a winning streak. This guy just doesn't go away, does he? He's had a fantastic career. He's on a 3-fight winning streak since he lost to Tom Aspinall, Stuart. And these are the guys he's beaten, up-and-coming guys, trying to make their way into the heavyweight division. And they've been decision wins. They haven't been knockouts, as we all know Arlovski's known for. Jake Collier has beat Chase Sherman, who a few fights back, Andre Arlovski's himself beat, but he beat him by decision. I think it's one of them. I like Andre Arlovski, Stuart, so I'll probably go with Andre Arlovski because the nostalgic sort of thing. I want that guy just to break into the top 10 again. I love the guy. He's been around for so many years, but respect for the guy that's still doing it now.
Absolutely. And yeah, we look forward to that. UFC Vegas 53 card this weekend, the big test for Vera and for Font. As Chris has said, he can't pick him. He can't do a pick him for us on that one, but yeah, he's looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. And legend Andre Arlovski back, as Chris said, he's on a 3-fight win streak after a loss to our very own Tom Aspinall. So yeah, can he make it? Can he make it 4-0? That's the big question, isn't it? We shall see. We shall see Saturday for you in the US and early hours for us Sunday. And fresh news from yesterday, Chris. One FC strike a 5-year deal with Amazon Prime, showing a minimum of 12 events a year. I was reading, Chris, as well. It's for Prime in Canada and USA. That's where it will be shown. I don't think it's going to be here in the UK. I think different.
Oh, well, you know what you can do for that.
Yes, I know what you're going to say. I know
a VPN works wonders for these sorts of things,
Absolutely. So if you want to watch it on there, you can.
But this is great. This is great news, Stuart, because UFC, obviously BT, Bellator on BBC. You've got PFL that I think are on Channel 4 or Channel 5. I can't remember which one, but it's either one of them two. ONE FC is now on Amazon Prime. There is so many places now you can watch all these organizations. You're not just stuck to UFC now. There's no excuse. You can watch your Bellators, you can watch your PFLs, your ONE FCs. They are now in good places where you can just pick them up and watch them. Hopefully we can get some back catalogue as well. So people who aren't known for watching ONE FC can watch some of their older fights and get, understanding of what they're like. Because, they have different rules so many places. So it's good. It's great. And it's good news for us fight fans, personally.
I should say in a plethora of, the different organizations now. It's amazing what you can get. Hello, here's Ramel. Hello, Ramel. Are you okay? Oh, ONE FC is quite good. There we go.
They do different things to it. They match different things, and they have some really good fighters over there. You know, not just Demetrius Johnson. I know we used a picture, but I think people obviously who aren't really known of ONE FC, I think Demetrius Johnson is known worldwide, so it's an easy picture to use, isn't it? I think it's great. It's great, Stuart. Like, you know, it's gone a long way from just having one MMA organization to watch. You know, here in the UK, we have a whole peripheral of places to go now to watch anything you want to watch when it comes to MMA, which is great news for fans.
Absolutely. Great news. Fantastic news. And Amazon Prime's going into the sports market more and more. You've got to
which is great.
You've got to wonder what other sports are going to take on because it's different level. Don McGuire, morning, mates. Hello, Don.
Hiya, Don. How you doing, mate?
Hope you're well. He's there in Missouri, isn't he? Missouri, I'm right. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning to you, Don. Good to have you on board on Facebook, watching us on Facebook there, mate.
Hope you're well, Don.
Watch out for Pinoy fighters. All out action, MFers.
Motherfucker. Chris? Well, no, he's right, yeah. Like I say, these are good places to be now that we've got so many places to watch. Okay, Don's back. He's having a coffee.
Get your coffee down, you Don. Yeah, I need several.
Have a lager.
He's having a lager. I have to have several in the morning, Don. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on the coffee, the morning coffee. Yeah.
Also, Stuart, I don't know if you watched Don's recent interview. It was back on Wednesday night. It'll be Wednesday night for us. I posted it on our page, so people who want to.
I did see you post it. Yeah.
The Fighter's Voice with Don McGuire. I posted it there. Really good watch. You should watch it.
Don's content's fantastic. Many years in the MMA business as well. 37 years and still going strong. So yeah, big respect to Don as always. Cheers, Chris. There you go. Ramel approves.
Well, we're talking about now, Stuart. We've talked about ONE FC's big news. I feel like today we've got one that we sort of thought was coming, but we didn't know it was going to be this quickly, and we didn't know we're going back to London.
Yeah, so here we go. The UFC back to London, back to the O2 after a stellar event last month. It was amazing. Chris, you were kind of blindsided though, weren't you? Because you felt there was talk of Liverpool being next.
Yeah, I did.
But it's still brilliant. They've obviously had such a great event last month in London that they felt the need. They've got to go back again. So that's fine. And the Liverpool show will happen, or Manchester, wherever they decide to come in the north of England, north of UK. But yeah. How do you feel about it going back to the O2 primarily, and fights that you feel will be made for this? Because I know there's been some witterings about who's on this card.
It was going to be a quick turnaround for a lot of fighters who want to, who were on the UK card a few months ago in March, aren't they? Really, March, July. It's not a long one, is it? Really. I'm excited because we get to watch it early, which is one of my
it's the little things, isn't it, these days?
Yeah. But it's seeing the fighters again and the momentum. I know that Molly McCann has got a fight sorted for that card. I know Makayev has got his fight sorted for the card. Hugely touted Makayev as well, isn't it, Chris? I feel like Paddy's going to get either co-main or main event for this card. It's going to be one or the other. I can't see them not putting him anywhere near those two. Do you think Aspinall? They bring Aspinall out for that one, or is he going to be more than likely going to be going to the States? Is he going to be stateside next because he's flying up the rankings there? Well, why not? Because now we know that John Jones and Stipe Miocic is going to happen. But I know that recent news now is Stipe wants to be ready in September for that fight. Does leave Aspinall and Tai Tuivasa, doesn't it? Why not put that in the main event in July in London, and then have Paddy's co-main event? Jack Shaw, Mason Jones. Let's get them all back. Danny Roberts, Hot Chocolate. He's fighting next weekend. But let's get him on the card. Let's get all the Brits on the card, as many as we can. Nathaniel Wood, who missed out because obviously he missed out because I put the comment where he was fighting pulled out when they arrived in the UK. You could have the longest card in history for that show. They could go hours and hours and hours. It could be a prelims, Chris. It really could. You're right. Imagine that they just said, right,
or like do it over 2 nights. I know they've got it penciled in for 1 night. Mutual mates. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don.
Love you, Don.
We appreciate you, Don. We really, really do. But yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And the people that aren't going to get a chance, but maybe they will look into people that didn't get a chance on the last one.
Yeah, I
get them showcased. You know, it's crazy how much talent's coming from this country now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we've seen obviously recently Jack Shaw's gone to rank 15th now, hasn't he, in the division? So he's going to get a tougher opponent. I think he's got to be on the main card this time. Not Gunnar Nelson. No disrespect to Gunnar Nelson.
No.
But, Paul Craig these sort of guys are now are breaking into good parts of their divisions where I feel like they could be matched up with much better fighters, and more people are going to be excited for the people they're fighting if they get them back on this card. It's great to do it. Like I said, it's not just the fight card itself. As much as we're both excited for it. It's the time I can actually be awake and enjoy it like last time. And I wish we were there. I wish we could go. I wish we could experience it.
It's going to sell out even faster this time, isn't it? I mean, there was so much anticipation, but off the back of how well that event went in March, it's different. It's just going to be, again, trying to get tickets is going to be a nightmare. But the tickets are going to get into the wrong hands. That's the problem. That's the problem. That your true fight fans are missing out on that show. I say about it for everything. These tickets for shows, whatever it is, entertainment, whatever you're going to see, they need to bring in that it's got your photograph on the ticket, which I know they have. Yeah. They have done. They've done for festivals, music festivals over here. They've got to implement that. And also, I know people are going to be filming stuff when they're there, but I saw a lot of younger fans or supposed fans on their phones all night. It's like you said, soak in the fights, what you're getting to see, isn't it? We're all going to take a video. We're all going to take a video.
I get that. Yeah.
It was the same people, man, with phones in their hands. It just
generation. It's this generation. You have to.
How much of a fan are they? You got it, but that's a story for another day, should I say?
Listen, I'm really excited. I'm glad we've got a really quick turnaround for UFC London, and it's good. This literally broke just before 1 o'clock this afternoon. So I thought, straight away we can bang that in today because it's a breaking news. And UFC London back in March was such a success, and it really showcased the UK talent and Irish talent that we have in this country. I'm excited to see it all over again, Stuart. I'm excited to see it happen the same way, but no losses this time. A clean sweep for Britain.
Would it be Paddy versus Tapora? Do they make that? Do they make that one for that card?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how much they want to wrap up Paddy Pimmonton in cotton wool at the moment. And maybe you'd want more money to fight Tapora because he has says that he doesn't want to fight better people on the current wage he's on. Well, current wage he's on. So we don't know. Maybe. Listen, Paddy's clever in a way that he knows that, if he wants to make bang for his buck, he's got to have a better contract. And he's doing it the right way. And we'll see. We'll see, Stuart. I'm sure the announcements for this card will be coming thick and fast now.
Absolutely. I've noticed also Michael Bisping is back doing his one-man show in October in the UK as well, but he's doing other venues, different venues to what he did on the first tour. So, he's back in October. That could be well worth going to see, as I've noticed. Great, just the way he can convey his career and just his personality, isn't it? The man, the legend, Michael Bisping.
Yeah, listen, you need to read his book. I know his a documentary on Amazon Prime was fantastic, but his book, Stuart, it goes into a lot more, obviously, because there's more time to write a book than there is to put the whole thing on a TV show. But read his book as well. It's fantastic. The stories and everything else, that there's so much more that goes on in his life, prior UFC, Cage Warriors and everything else, Cage Rage when he was in that. He is a legend, yeah. I'm not ever taking that away. I'd love to go to that as well. Tales of the Octagon, it's called. But it's not in Manchester, is it, this time?
Leeds, I think, is probably our closest, or Sheffield, if memory serves. But yeah, he's abroad with it as well. I'm trying to think what country.
New Zealand, isn't it? New Zealand and Australia.
He's doing a couple of European dates as well. if memory serves on that one. But yeah, fantastic. And yeah, we look forward to that UK card. That'll come around before we know it as well.
Most definitely.
At the moment, like, that's
I think you need to come back for that one.
I might have to off the back of what we saw in March.
Yes, most definitely.
Unreal at everything, that card. And yeah, I'm not knocking people before people say, oh, he's giving out, saying they're not a fan. It's just that being on the phone, just filming everything all night. I'm not a fan of that, but it's like you said, it's a generational thing. It's people a bit younger than us, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, I went back in 2004, 2006 when I went to see UFC, and obviously I met a peripheral of people, didn't I? I spoke to them. I didn't speak to them like that, you know what I mean? I spoke to them. You know, I met Andre Winner in the men's box. You know what I mean? That's how you meet people. That's how I was brought up. That's how you were brought up. We speak to you. You don't have to watch things through the lens of your phone. Use your eyeballs.
That's it. But yeah, the iconic O2 for that show is all going to be fantastic. But yeah, anything more to add? I know the week after we've got a big event, haven't we? Which you want to preview in next week's show. But yeah, just shine a bit of light on that next huge UFC card as well before we go, I think.
Yeah, we've got UFC 274, Stuart, which is headlined by Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje for the lightweight title. We have Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza 2. They both fought in the Ultimate Fighter to crown the strawweight back many years ago, Stuart.
Full circle that now.
Yeah. We have Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson, Stuart. I don't even know where to even think how we're going to break that down, because I don't know how that's going to go myself.
I've got an instinct with that one. Fist of Fury for 3 rounds.
Quite possibly. We got the returning Mauricio Shogun Rua. He's facing Oven St. Prove. Donald Cerrone versus the returning Joe Lozon, which we haven't seen in years, Stuart. We do have a Brit on the card as well. As I said to you, it's Francis Trinaldo. He's taking on Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts as well. He's fighting in the early prelims. So the card itself it's really, really good. Donald Cerrone versus Joe Lozon one is like, that came out of the blue. I know they're both, you know, sort of winding down their careers now, but, you know, it's a fan service fight, that one.
You know what Cowboy's like as well? They just keep going and going. Just when you think that's him riding off to the sunset, cowboy hat on, and he's going to go back to, you know, obviously he's got like all his stuff set up there, hasn't he? What he does, the off-roading, he's got the gym, hasn't he, and all that going on. Yeah, but yeah, what a man. One of my favourites, still one of my favourites. You know, some people say, no, he's gone on too long, but, you know,
you try tell him to stop.
He's a fighter's fighter, but yeah, it'd be good to see Joe Lozon. Absolutely.
Actually, before we go, I'm quite intrigued. The last time Joe Lozon fought Stuart, I need to have a look at that.
Yeah, fire it.
2019. Okay, it's not that long ago. But you know, it's 3 years, isn't it? We're looking at. He's had a 3-year layoff. I'm not sure why. But yeah, it's great. It's great to see. Like I say, it's a fan service fight. These guys have been in the UFC for a long time. Well, obviously, Donald Cerrone was in WEC beforehand, but staples of MMA.
Absolutely, Shogun Rua and Open St. Prue as well. That'll be a good fight. It's got good. There's some good stuff. There's some good stuff on that, man.
It's a mixture of old and new, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You got your vets and you got your prevalent guys now, but yeah. You know, as you said, Indian summer maybe for some of these guys as well. Possibly, they come back in. They come back into the fold. Maybe had a few losses, and they can.
Well, Glover's Teixeira did it. Yeah, so why
he's
not?
He's the embodiment of it. It goes to show it can be done, doesn't it, Chris? Just when you think the finish, But yeah, UFC 274. We'll have a big preview for that next week because that's going into next weekend. So yeah, I just wanted you to give that the pre-preview. The pre-preview from Mr. Hume there before we go into it. But yeah, anything more to add before we go?
Obviously, it won't be live today, but I've got an interview with Joe Daddy Stevenson, and thanks Don McGuire for sorting that out. Can't thank you enough. I've got that coming up around about 8 o'clock from our time, but I'm going to pre-record that one, and then I'll send that out at some point next week. I might do it on the Monday, Tuesday, just to give this episode a bit of breathing room, so we're not just doubling up on everything.
Be fantastic. I look forward to watching. I'll probably listen to it, actually, Chris.
I'll send you the video.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to fantastic career that Joe Daddy Stevenson has had. I remember him very well coming through in The Ultimate Fighter, his UFC career. But it's good to hear some other stuff, what he's been doing more currently. And I know you'll give it the good gloss, and you'll be getting all the juicy bits, hopefully, Chris.
Well, yeah.
Joe Daddy.
Oh, definitely. I've got to ask him about Kingdom as well, obviously, because I love that TV show. So it'd be nice.
Still not watched that. You've told me so many times. I do. It will.
I think it's on Peacock now, Stuart, in America. And Netflix got rid of it. You can get it. You can get it on the IPTV.
I'll go searching.
You'll find it. Yeah. You'll find it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So yeah, this has been episode 57 of Powered 4.tv Big Fight Weekly, and we will see you next week as we've got the UFC 274 preview. We will have all the fallout from Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, obviously both fighting at lightweight for all the gold. The ladies there, MSG, the iconic, the Mecca that is MSG. I've been to MSG. Just the whole aura of that place, amazing. So yeah, we look forward to that. And yeah, we'll see you next week for episode 58 of the show.
See you next week.